How are you, friend? I am greeting all of you. Uh, our our lesson is reinforced concrete (RCC), and this is the website which you can contact with us. It is Sc.Column Engineering Consultants. You can contact us. These all websites which is on here. This is the website which you can connect with us. This website. So welcome to our website, which we will use a more lesson to be applied, and you can follow us with this website. So today our introduction part of RCC. On the first introduction part, let us discuss with this one. The first one is an introduction part. Let us start with the property of reinforced concrete. What is the property of reinforced concrete? What is a concrete? First, we have to define what is a concrete. Concrete is a stone like a material obtained artificially by hardening of mixture of cement. It is a stone like a material obtained artificially by hardening of a mixture of cement, inert aggregate, and inert aggregate material, which is a fine aggregate and coarse aggregate, and water in predetermined proportion. So the first point it should contain in concrete is it is a cement. Then that cement will be added an inert aggregate material. An inert aggregate material might be fine, might be coarse, depend on the sieve analyze. Or the size of the object. For example, fine is nothing but it is a sand, and the coarse it's nothing but it is what? Aggregate. It is aggregate. Therefore, this is plus water. So this is what is called concrete. Adding cement, sand, aggregate, adding all these which I have written on the above part, which is sand, cement, aggregate, plus water. The water which is already prescribed or predetermined, we need a water. So this one we shall discuss when we are going to the ratio that is required to be added. We shall see on the next lessons. So adding all these, that means S stands for sand, plus C of cement, plus A of aggregate, plus W. Adding all this is known as aggregate. Therefore, we have to have a good understanding of knowing what does it mean, the aggregate, right now. So if you are asked what is an aggregate, it's nothing but it is sandy, cement, aggregate, water. So adding with all this, it is known as concrete. So fine is nothing but it is a sand. Coarse is nothing but it is an aggregate. And this is cement, and this is a water. So adding this all four, mixing with the appropriate and by checking the ratio, this is called an aggregate. Do you have any question, any comment, anything you can share with us, and we shall discuss based on your questions. On the next point is the property of reinforced concrete. What kind of property by this one has? Before we start our report, let us look at what does it mean. This we have already divided by this word. We wanted to divide this one. This one is nothing but it is the bar or reinforce which has a dimension of 12 meters. 12 meters. So it is a steel which has a 12 meter in length. It might be different in dia. The diameter of this bar might be different. It might be 6, it might be 8, it might be 40, it might be above, but it is the one which has such kind of this is known as reinforced. So that what is the property of this one, and it is abbreviation of this one is RC. RC is nothing but it is a reinforced concrete. So adding the concrete and the reinforcement is known as RC. So adding these two, what is the property of that one? This is our main point which we are going to discuss today. The material called concrete in this lecture is made in 3 or 4 basic ingredients. It contains 3 or 4 basic ingredients. We have already discussed it earlier on this time. It was sand, cement, aggregate, and water. That is the 4 basic ingredients, usually called concrete making materials. We know that it is called a concrete making materials. This material for concrete are hydraulic cement, usually Portland cement. It's known Portland cement. This is a cement which is its name is called Portland cement. So there is a many different of cement, Portland cement, national cement, whatever it is. I mean PPC, something like this. There is a many different. And the next one is a mineral aggregate. This a mineral aggregate, water and the iron mixture. So in here, that means this one is it contains with the mineral aggregate contains with sand and aggregate. That means it might be fine aggregate and coarse aggregate. This might be fine and coarse. Okay, friends, And the next point is water and admixture. This is optional. Admixture is always used where there is a so-called area like Europe, or it might be used when you are constructing or when you are going to construct inside the water. You need it tries to gain by it is hardening the concrete to become quickly and dry. So that is we use admixture. So this is optional. We shall see why we require an admixture in here. We shall see on the next. So right now we see the Portland cement. This one which contains with a fine aggregate and a coarse aggregate. Water. This may contain a 3, 4 when it is needed added in admixture. So that when these ingredients are mixed, they form a plastic mass. They form what's called a plastic mass, which can be poured. It can be poured. It can be poured. The place you need, it can be poured in a suitable molds form. So adding this one and mixing, it becomes a plastic mass. That plastic mass, you can do whatever shape you require to do so. So it depends on the suitable mold that you required or the form that you need, and set on standing into the hard solid mass. As a result of exothermic chemical reaction between cement and water to produce a workable mix. It should be a workable. Workable is nothing but it can be taken by this place and it can be poured by here to become an understandable shape and the required shape which is expecting to be looked at the end of the day. And more water is used over and above that need for this chemical reaction. So concrete has been a construction material used in a largest quantity for several decades. It has been used by several decades. The reason for its popularity can be found in the excellent technical property of concrete as well as in the economic of this material. It's also characteristic that the property of concrete ingredients have a major influence on the fresh as well as the hardening concrete. Therefore, the selection was a difference between, if we look here, was a difference between fresh and hardening. When we mix the ingredients of concrete, which we have told on the earlier, that is cement, aggregate, and water, adding an admixture which is an optional. When we add all these on the first hours or first minute, when we add, it's known as fresh, as well as hardening when it reaches on minimum of 4 or some hours. Therefore, the selection of concrete making a material for a given purpose is quite important. Therefore, in order to make this selection intelligent, the selecting person should be able to assess concrete making material, and it should know what to select, how to select it, and why to select it in a particular way. In other words, he or she should be familiar with the availability tables of each of the concrete making material, significance, and application. We should know where it is used, why we select, and which application, that means where it is used, we have to know. Thank you very much.